But when you start to get down to who am I, who do I think I am, and that's why I behave like this, versus who do I... Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's Nikisha Bond. If you're new here, welcome. I'm a professional problem solver, and today we're going to talk about why letting go of old habits is harder than learning new ones. And the reality is, habits are kind of tied to your identity. And so when you have habits in your life that you really don't like and you want to get rid of them, what you're really actually doing is taking away an identity. Like, I saw myself as that. And so that's why I did that every single day. And when you take it away, it leaves a giant hole. And when you have that hole there, you're feeling like, what should I do? And our brain is kind of like what fires together, wires together. So then it's like we want to go back to that same habit. So if we try to unlearn something and take it away, we got a big hole that we got to now fill with new information. And so that's why letting go of habits feels harder, because it's a two-step process. I can learn something and feel great about it, right? I learned something, I got some new knowledge, but if I already knew something and now you're telling me some new information, I have to now unlearn the old stuff so that I can now and process how I feel about unlearning the old stuff, and then now be receptive to the new stuff. And also, I'm also going to be a little critical, because before I thought I had the truth, and now you're telling me a new truth, and now I got to figure out how I feel about the fact that I was either lied to, or I was deceived, or found out something when I was really young. Either way, the whole process makes people very uncomfortable. And when people feel uncomfortable, what do? They read that as anxiety, and they decide, I can't do it. My body is telling me, ooh, I'm uncomfortable, so I should not do this anymore. But that's not really what it is. It really is figuring out what the new habits are going to be now. And that's an easier way to kind of shift your habits. Instead of doing it from the habit by habit level, right? The symptom, let's get down to the root cause. And the root cause is like, how do I identify? Who do I think that I actually am? Which is why I perform these particular habits. And then who is it that I want to be? Which is why I'll perform the new habits. See, we have to think of it that way, because when we don't see both of those, we can't figure out the gap. And there is a gap, and this gap is uncomfortable. This is the anxiety gap, right? On one hand, you have who you are and what habits you have. On the other hand, you have who you want to be and the new habits you need to have. And me right in the middle, this is the gap that you're trying to fill out. And getting from one side to the other is very difficult when you're only looking at the habits. But when you get to the identity and say, who is this person versus who is that person, and then kind of line up those habits, that makes it a lot easier for you to at least identify the gap, so that when you're operating on a day-to-day basis and you're going back into maybe some of those older habits, because again, wired together, fired together, no, fired together, wired together, that happens. So you're going to, start to go back into some of those old habits. But then knowing where the gap is and knowing what those pieces are and knowing what you're supposed to be doing helps you identify and say, no, this is what I'm trying to do. And I think that's that time that it's taking for you to develop those new habits. They say it's like 21 to 56 days. It's that going back and forth, going back and forth, going back and forth. So it is kind of hard to let go of new habits if you're just focusing on the habits. But when you start to get down to who am I, who do I think I am, and that's why I behave like this, versus who do I want to be, and that's how I'm going to behave, that's when you're going to really see it. And you might be thinking, well, Nikisha, I know who I want to be, but I just can't do it. I just can't do it for whatever reason, insert whatever reason. And it's like, okay, whatever you think, you're correct. So that's first off. So if that's what you truly, honestly believe, click off the video. I have nothing more to give you. What you believe is what you believe, and that's what it is. But if you think, just a thought experiment, if you wanted to, perhaps, maybe. If you wanted to, take the time to spend the 21 to 56 days that it's going to take for you to change, knowing that you're going to go back and forth, knowing that there's going to be a little bit of a struggle. Do you think that you could change over time if you gave yourself some time and gave yourself some grace and understood that these are habits that you've had for a really long time? So moving to the other realm is going to feel a little uncomfortable at first. But if you think you can navigate that, you absolutely could. And you see how that comes up when your automatic thing is, I can't do it? You see how now it blinds you to even the possibility of being able to do it. And I don't want you guys to be blind, because it's not actually that hard. We make it hard, right? And other people make it hard, because if I make it hard and I make it complicated, then you can pay me more money to fix it, right? That's the reality. But a lot of this is really simple. And a lot of it we actually know. But we get into that, it feels uncomfortable, so maybe I'm wrong. Let me go back and double check. It feels uncomfortable, so maybe I need to change the plan. No, you got it. It's just what it is, right? If you play football, they're going to hit you out there on the field. Now, you can't sit up here and be like, well, I don't think they should do that. They cannot do that. They need to stop. That's football. It's football, right? So you have to understand the game that you're playing. When you're trying to change your habits, it's uncomfortable. It just is. It just is. And when you can just accept that it just is, then you can do the day-to-day steps that it's going to take to change, which is just making that decision and sticking with it. Most people make that decision and they vacillate. They go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And that's the reason why they feel so confused, because they're always going back and forth and back and forth. Just make the decision and stick with it. 21 to 56 days, your whole life will be different. Now, I can't guarantee anything because I don't know how you think. And I don't know if you actually believe that. Because if you sat here and said, well, I don't believe you, Nikisha. I don't believe that if I did that for 21 or 56 days that it would stick. Who am I to argue with you? You're right. But if you think maybe it's possible, just a little possibility, I would say just go ahead and give it the time and do it every single day. And you'll see a huge change. And then your life can change. And then it won't feel so hard to let go of some of these old habits because you don't even see yourself like that anymore. Like, why would I do that? That's not who I am. There's power in that. You're welcome. Make sure that you like, make sure that you subscribe, and make sure that you join our Skool community. I have so many tools in there. It's absolutely free. And if you did need to book me, I'm in there as well. See you guys next time. Bye-bye.